right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to do a lab that models the rock cycle. You should have 2 crayons that are different colors. We're going to start off by peeling our crayons. So everybody go ahead and peel your crayons real quick. See how fast you can peel your crayons. And also, let's see here, let's put this down, is also, you should be working on the top of your piece of paper. That way you're not making a big mess. You just throw the paper away when you're done. Okay, there's one. So this is going to be your first lab grade for the next 9 weeks. It should be an easy 100. In fact, I'm going to give you 100 if you follow along with me. Oops, there you go, and I'm done. That's fine. All right, so this should be an easy 100 if you just follow along and answer the questions as we go. If you do the last part, number 9, by yourself, and you get 100 on that, you actually have a 110. That is a test grade, so that's a very good way to start the last 9 weeks is with a 110 on a test grade. So there's really no reason today, if you follow along, not to make a 110. All right, are y'all done peeling crayons yet? That's one thing I always do when everybody's in class is always race students and I always win. For example, cutting paper, when we have to cut something out, always see who can cut it out first, and guess what? I'm always the winner. Anyways, all right. So give y'all a few seconds to peel the crayons. All right, let's go ahead and answer. Y'all can see my screen, right? You should be following along on the screen. I'm on number 1, Schoology. Does everybody have Schoology open, the lab? Okay, so go to Schoology, open the Crayon Lab, a model of the rock cycle. We're going to do this together. This should be an easy 100 for a test grade. Okay, so does everybody have the lab open? All right, so now that I have my 2 crayons peeled, let's think about it. How do they make a crayon? How do y'all think they make crayons? Out of wax. What do you think they do with that wax? Melt it and pour it into a mold, right? So they melt it, they pour it into a mold, and then they have to do what? They have to cool it, right? So here I have the clue. Crayons are made by melting wax, pouring it into a mold, and then cooling. What type of rock does this represent? Igneous. Very good. Ig means from fire. So these crayons represent igneous rock. Why? Well, because the way they made these crayons is they melted them, poured them into a mold, and then cooled them. Everybody go ahead and answer number 1. Everybody answer number 1. You answer number 1, Robert? Yeah. All right. Did you get it, Lucas? Did you answer number 1?
Wait, which? Oh, never mind.
Okay. So yes, we just peeled our igneous rocks. Number 2. says use the knife or sharpener to shave off small pieces of two different crayon rocks. What process does this represent? So put your two crayons side by side, pinch them together. We're going to shave them until they break, and once they start to break, we'll just put the broken pieces aside. So take your knife, always hold my knife on top like that. That way I'm not going to break my knife or break my crayons. And with a little bit of pressure, but not hard enough to break them, I scrape back and forth. So everybody go ahead and do that. You're doing two crayons at once. So what I'm doing is I have my two crayons together and I am shaving them. Until they break or until you get a nice pile of shavings. You don't have to shave the whole thing. Oh, like see, mine just broke. What I could do is just put it side by side like that and just keep going. Okay, so there are my crayon shavings. And I just took, whatever I don't want, put off to the side. I'll give you some more time. I always have students that want to spend 30 minutes doing this, and it's like, we don't have that much time. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so you can tell I have a pretty good, nice pile of shavings there. So, what process does this represent? Do we just do weathering, erosion, or deposition? Weathering.
Erosion?
Weathering. So, weathering is the breakdown of big rock into smaller rock or sediment. Okay? So, what process does this represent? That represents weathering. Weathering being the breakdown of rock. Okay? Everybody get number 2 answered? All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3. What do these shavings represent? What do these represent? Yes. Just go with it. But at the end of class, just throw it away. We're actually done with the knife. All right, so number 3. Are you on number 3? Number 3, what do these shavings represent? What do these represent?
Sediment.
Very good. That would be sediment. Okay. So the shavings represent sediment. It says now gently blow the shavings. What process does that represent? So I'm not going to blow them. I'm going to move them. So everybody move your shavings across your page, or you can even get your paper and go like that, tap it. What process does that represent?
Erosion?
Erosion. Yes, erosion is the movement. So the shavings represent sediment, whereas when you blow them across your page, or I just scoot them with my finger, that represents erosion. Okay? Isn't this easy? Easy 100. That's number 3. Okay, moving on to number 4. Drop the shavings onto a piece of foil. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use my last period too, is I'm going to take my piece of aluminum foil. This is my project from last class. I'm just going to build on it. I'll have a giant rock when I'm done. And I'm going to take my shavings, And I'm going to put them onto the aluminum foil. Okay, what process does that represent?
Deposition.
Very good. Deposition, or to deposit. We just deposited our sediment onto a new So yes, we just deposited our sediment onto a new surface. Okay, so next, fold the foil over in half and press it between the desks. Be very careful not to rip your foil, because if you rip your foil, you can't do the next process. But press Okay, press your foil onto the table. Try not to rip your foil. Okay, open it up. And notice you made a rock. Mine's kind of falling apart. Okay, there's my new rock. So I just made a new type of rock. So what process does pressing down on your rock represent?
Compacting and cementing.
Yes, very good. Compacting and cementing. So that represents compacting and cementing. Deposition, deposit. Okay, number 5. Everybody ready for number 5? What type of rock did we just make?
Sedimentary rock.
Very good. That is a sedimentary rock. Yes. So we just made a sedimentary rock. So yes, we just made a sedimentary rock. Moving on to number 6. Everybody keeping up? Easy 100. Moving on to number 6. Put your goggles on, tie back long hair, and loose clothes. Make a small boat. In chemistry, a boat is a platform that you use to hold chemicals. Okay, when you get to high school, you'll have these little plastic trays they look like little bowls. And if you're going to weigh chemicals, you can't just put them right on the scale. You put them into what's called a boat. So it says make a small boat. We're just going to kind of fold up the corners. And this one, I actually thought of a better scenario. What if I did this instead? What if I folded it back over, but y'all don't do this, and I took an iron, like, you iron your clothes, and I pushed down real hard with an iron, and I ironed out my crayon. Okay, let the crayon cool, and what process does this represent? Cooling and hardening. This is kind of part of lab, but if I could rewrite it, I'd rewrite this part right here. So cooling and hardening. Okay, number 7. Are we ready for number 7?
Wait, what was it again?
Cooling and
yeah,
hardening.
I thought so. Okay.
So let the crayon rock cool. It represents cooling and hardening. All right, so if you're at home, you just gotta hang out for a second. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back and we're gonna put our crayon rock onto a hot plate. It's gonna represent it baking under high heat and pressure. So I'll be back in a second. All right, Robert, come on back. Get your aluminum foil. Open it up. You have donuts down the side of this. All right, there you go. Come on back down. Where's your crayon? Drop your crayon in there. Your crayon shavings, I should say. Maybe your shavings. Stuff you did.
Right there on
So Lucas, get your crayon shavings and drop it into your aluminum foil.
the black colored shaving on the foil. It's also paper.
Are you ready? Bring your crayon over. Let that set for a few seconds, let it cool off so it's not so runny. All right, Lucas, you ready? Yeah, this is kind of dry out. Don't have the time to spill all over the place. Good? All right. All right, Lucas, you want to watch crayon? Put your crayon on your tip ball. You have your crayon shavings.
Bring it and fill in your foil.
You have your crayon shavings in there?
Yes.
Ooh, what's good one. All right, here you go, Aaron. Put it right there. Go anywhere, Lucas. Stay here. Be careful at the top. Okay, take it. Okay, so what I did is I put my crayon on a hot plate, and you can see now it's kind of all melted together. In reality, though, what we're doing is we're representing baking under high heat and pressure. Notice I can still see different colors, okay? So I can still kind of tell maybe it was made out of it's kind of black, but I can tell there's a little bit of blue, a little bit of orange. I can kind of tell what it's made out of, even though it's, okay? All right, so moving on. What type of rock does this process produce? What type of rock did we just make? By baking under...
Metamorphic.
Very good. What type of rock is made by baking under a high heat and pressure? That would be metamorphic rock. That's number 7. Everybody get number 7 done? So number 7, we just made metamorphic rock. We baked it under high heat and pressure. Number 8. Okay, now we're not going to do this because I actually set the fire alarm off at school a couple years ago and they called the fire department. True story. But it says put the crayon back on the hot plate until it completely melts and it's all one color. It's like when you got the crayon. It's either all blue or all orange or whatever color you made. What process does this represent? Oh, it says let the crayon cool. What process does this represent? It represents cooling and hardening. So we're going to let it. So what we did is we completely melted the crayon until it's one solid color. And then we let it cool. What process does this represent? It represents cooling and hardening. What type of rock does this produce? It produces what type of rock? Igneous. Okay, so we just made it igneous rock. This is B if we completely melted it and then cooled it, so it's all one solid color. So I would have no more swirls in it. It would just be all one color. That would be an igneous rock. And then number 9. Okay, number 9. Label each, this is the one that's going to be 110. So far, if you follow along, you have 100. If you get this right, you'll get 110. So it says label each arrow with the process required. So how does rock become sediment? How does sediment become sedimentary rock? How does rock become metamorphic rock? How does rock become magma? And how does magma or lava become igneous rock? And down here you have your option choices. Okay? That's going to be it for the day. And once you're done with that, you're ready for lunch. Okay, we're not done too early. All right, and that's it. We're going to clean up. Look at your grade. If you're not happy with your grade, see what assignments you might be missing. And another big thing you can do is do the Simple Machine Makeup Lab in the class whiteboard folder. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a nice day.